Which one did you post?
Well, it was
Which ones?
I posted two in one post, and one of them, they were both like the triple still frame memes. And the first one was the guy hitting him with the skateboard, and was just like, at first I was like this, and then Kyle pointing it up and shooting him, and then the third one on the bottom, and then I was like this.
How did that got you banned? That was a great meme. I probably shared that too. I don't even know why that would get you banned.
Yeah, and then the second one was because it was the other guy who had the handgun who got his bicep blown off. It was like, at first I was like this, pointing the gun at Kyle, and then Kyle blowing his bicep off, and then I was like this when he was just like holding his bicep like, medic! Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, that's what I'm in a 30-day ban for.
Do you have a backup account, or
they ban my backup accounts too? They ban all three. I think they got smart, and any fucking Facebook account that I have coming from my VPN address or something, they're just like, nope, we're banning them all.
Wow.
Like not just banning you, but anyone you're associated with in your household, your neighborhood,
your roommates, if you had them.
Yeah. Like
the guy stealing your Wi-Fi from the bushes. Matt, how come you've never had your sock account banned?
I don't know.
Only ever banned your main.
I don't know. I mean, I've got things that I do differently. I don't know if I want to put them on the air though.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't narc yourself out.
I just wonder what makes one account more resilient and another account more vulnerable, or like, is it just like certain people snitch, or like?
I mean, maybe
I think it's arbitrary.
I mean, weren't your stock accounts? Didn't they have very similar names?
What, mine? Yeah, they were the same exact name. I did basically.
Yeah, so
well, that could be it.
Yeah. Could be, because it was just like, yeah, I get banned, make a new account, banned, make a new account, whatever.
Well, and like one thing that I was going to say is, like, I have a flip phone, so I don't do Facebook at all on my phone. So maybe it has something to do with phone as well.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing that I've gotten banned for, because I think I've been banned like 9 times since, I think, November of last year. And one of the funniest ones was I posted up a meme of Cookie Monster, but somebody photoshopped Tide Pods over top of the cookies, and the caption was, "Num num num, we need more gun control. Num num num."
Brilliant.
And that caught me a 30-day ban.
Just due to the dankness of that one.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I thought it was funny, but I didn't think it was like that.
You exceeded the allotted dankness for that month.
I think what it is when those censors, or the executive types, or the people with the agenda to push, when they see a meme like that, they know they got burned, like, and they have to have an emotional like backlash. They're like, ban that guy, like, I think it just hits them. They know when they get burned, like, and that one just burns them.
I don't know. I thought it could be because it's promoting eating Tide Pods, and they consider that a health risk. So, but
you're
I
right.
Could be
you're
wrong,
right, Kyle.
It could be either one. I don't know.
Because it was probably some somebody in the Philippines that's just like, they've been given instructions. If they see people eating Tide Pods, we're supposed to nix that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
But they don't tell you. They don't tell you why they did it, right?
I forget their reasoning that they gave me on that one.
Yeah, it's always something very vague.
It was
like we talked about last episode.
They probably said something along the lines of it's promoting self-harm or something like that. And it's like, well,
that's confirms Kyle's theory.
Wouldn't that be the same thing as like the news posting the news about it? Like, if you never put it on the news, it would have never been a popular thing.
Or how about military recruitment ads? Like there's definitely some harm promoting going on Facebook, uncensored.
Well, they're getting paid, so they're probably leaving those up.
I don't think so. I think it's just the imperial nature is they yield to.
Yeah, it was a big scandal when it came out that the NFL was actually getting paid to put on all those displays at the beginning of games.
When you say big scandal, what do you mean? I mean, did it stop? Probably
well, it didn't stop, but when the news, I feel like when the news broke, there was some outrage.
Well, now that they don't have fans in the stadiums, it stopped, I'm sure.
more outrage that they were taking money from the taxpayers, you know, and not doing it for free, not letting the Army put these displays on for free. But
oh, okay, right. It was outrage that the NFL would charge for this.
Yeah,
this should be something that they should be even doing, even doubly so, for free.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. You should have twice the Jets for free.
God, Kyle, I really love having the statist perspective on this show. You really clarify a lot of things for me. Thank you.
Well, I'm not saying it. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I mean, that's
at least you understand it because it's your people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. You know, I'm not a fan of that.
He's our statist translator.
For me, it's probably the least appealing part of the entire game is all the nationalism at the beginning of it. And there's heavy displays of nationalism.
That doesn't give you like a little partial, Chubb?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm just like, oh gosh, you know. It really is like a Soviet display with the tanks, and we don't do tanks, but we do everything else.
They do military flyovers.
Yeah,
it's pretty cultish, right?
Dude, what if they rolled tanks on the field? How great would that be?
I mean,
Dude,
I'm sure they would
if it
didn't wreck the field.
What? That's a perfect halftime show. Don't give them the idea because they would do it. I think they would probably do it already if it wouldn't destroy the turf.
Right, that'd be the concern.
Yeah, and you know they bring out the flag covers the entire field for some of these displays,
which is disgraceful, and it often touches the ground, and nobody burns that flag afterwards. And
flags are also not supposed to be displayed horizontal.
And that flag desecration is or for advertising purposes, or like they got at least a half dozen flag code violations there. Who do we call? Kyle, who do we call for flag code violations?
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a number somewhere. There's a department that handles calls for that and does nothing.
1-800-Karen.
You don't have like a statist handbook that gives you like a tip sheet or number?
No. I just use the internet like everybody else. But he's right there. Who do we report this to? That'd be the funniest call ever.
I guarantee you there's a government agency somewhere.
No, you have to call. No, it's not the government. It's either the local Boy Scout troop or the VFW. No one else will ever give a shit.
I was going to say, yeah, I remember going to a flag burning ceremony at the when I was in Boy Scouts at the VFW.
See,
they were retiring flags.
They're the allies in flag,
flag etiquette.
Flag etiquette.
Oh, it wasn't in protest. It wasn't in protest. These flags had just outlived their usefulness.
Right. Well, it's a religious item. You don't just.
They weren't like kneeling and burning the flag at the VFW.
You can't just throw a religious relic or in the garbage. It has to have a special religious ceremony that'll guide it safely into the next life.
Yeah, you can't just throw the Torah right in the dumpster.
Yeah. Right. Wonder what they do with the ashes. They probably
I don't know.
Sprinkle them, across
probably
the
like
lake.
Mail them to the fucking Congress or something.
I did find a Torah once that somebody had left behind.
Oh yeah,
it's true. I took it to my house and I had it for a while before I found the owner, and they were glad to retrieve it.
That's cool. They're pretty cool relics. All right, what else we got, Matt?
Yeah, so next we have the cop killing in Tulsa.
Yeah,
the cop killed somebody.
No, the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, so the story is basically this guy got pulled over by the cops. Over the course of I think the video was like 15-20 minutes. The cops tried to get this person out of the vehicle. The person refused. It was a white male. They ended up first tasing.
Jared, why are you doing the race baiting?
Because, dude, I gotta sell copy.
Okay.
Well, the tribalists need to know which tribe the guy was from to know whether he's guilty or innocent.
Exactly.
I'm helping our tribalists in the audience.
This way they don't have to pay attention to the details. They can just peg him. Oh, white male. Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Let's get our unconscious bias going. Proceed.
Yes. Now that we're all primed, let me continue. So yeah, this guy was apparently had cut off the cops or pulled in front of the cops. They pulled him over. I guess they ran his tags or whatever and found he was without insurance. So they had him get out of the car. When he refused to get out of the car, so they first tased him. That didn't work. Then they tried macing him. That didn't really work. And so as they're pulling him out of the car, he kind of like does one of these and leans back in his chair and then comes back out. And when they pull him out, he's got a gun and he shoots both cops and he kills one. And I think he wounds the other, but I think that cop is able to take him down and arrest him.
Oh,
so,
Jesus Christ.
It sounds like a real tragedy.
So he's getting charged with possession with intent to sell. So apparently he had some heroin in his car over the
totally not planted heroin.
Yeah. Also had obviously a weapon, which I guess was possessed unlawfully or something.
Well, it sure came in handy when he got attacked, didn't it?
It did. And yeah,
maybe it's the whole idea is to have it in case you're attacked, right?
It's true. So yeah, so that's what happened. He's he's in jail. He's charged with these crimes, probably going to get convicted. It's all on video. So
jury nullification, dude. Go for jury nullification. Look, I feared for my life. It works for them, dude. And it's you had a legitimate right to fight for your life. Tell it to a jury if you can.
Hopefully he's listening.
I doubt it.
I'm sure they're playing this in the jail right now. Like,
we are. I think half of our listeners are in jail. So,
but if maybe he's got friends that can. Maybe there's got friends that can Google jury nullification. Try to. I mean, what else? What other prayer does he have? Some kind of. You think they're going to give him a good plea deal? No. No prayer.
Of course not. They don't. They ain't giving cop killers no deals. No way.
But you know what they might say is, well, you know what? His deal might be like, we'll agree not to go for the death penalty if you just agree to life without parole. That's the kind of deal he might get.
Well, let's see. It was in Tulsa, which is what? That's Oklahoma, right? So yes. Does Oklahoma have a death penalty? I imagine they do because it's Oklahoma. But
for cop killers, I bet you they do. I don't know.
Well, they either have it or they don't, right? I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, if they do, he'll probably get that unless he pleads, unless they just want to save the court costs and get him life. But this whole situation wouldn't be happening if we didn't have a number of things. If there wasn't just this sort of extortion culture among police, where it's like, oh, this guy didn't drive exactly how I wanted him to drive with the exact papers that I want him to have. So let me pull him over and harass him.
Well, didn't it start with he pulled out in front of me? Wasn't it that thing?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Okay. So what does that even mean? Right. Like, I think it kind of means like, maybe for all you know, he was just treated like a normal other car on the road. He didn't get a special preference. He didn't get a special, like everyone pulling over and saluting as he drives by.
Failure to yield and making an illegal left turn and operating a vehicle with expired tags.
Right, but what generated it was probably just like he felt he didn't get respected. Like, what? He can't pull out in front of me. I'll show him, and just escalated.
He probably pulled out in front of him, and then it was like, oh, fuck this guy. Let me run his tags and see if I got anything. And he was like, oh, bingo, I got him.
But I would say I'm going to give him at least a 70% chance of being like perfectly driving completely normally and having the right of way, but the cop's still feeling slighted by some kind of, Like, I don't know.
Well, it says that they released dash cam footage, so maybe we can see the footage of hopefully of the actual initial supposed illegal turn, and then they also released body cam footage. But it did say that both were
I watched
edited.
both of those. Both of them started at the beginning of the after he got pulled over. Yeah, like right before the altercation. There was nothing of the actual him cutting him off or pulling in front or whatever he did.
That could just be all made up bullshit.
I mean, it could very well be. I mean, he did say it
could be like, you know how they reconstruct how, the details after it's all
well
done.
It wouldn't have been after, because he says it on the video. He says, I'm pulling you over because you pulled out in front of us. But the thing is, he says you pulled out in front of us. Ed pointed this out before. He says you pulled out in front of us. He didn't say you cut us off or you.
Well, for instance, I had a cop pull me over because I flicked him the bird. Okay.
Really?
But the reason he did it, he said I was following too close to the car in front of me. Right. We all knew that was bullshit. Right.
Yeah.
Like he knew it was bullshit. I knew it was bullshit. But they don't need any excuse to just make something up.
Right. Of course.
How'd you get out of that one?
I think I ended up paying some fines.
Damn. Did you just flick him off just because, or?
Because he deserved it. He was on the side of the road, like doing predator work. So I
can't tell you how many times I've done that. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel like these cops should see people flicking them off like everywhere they go all day long. Like, just that should just be part of their life.
Yeah.
Right. Like until they quit.
Yeah, their job is to enforce traffic laws. So I mean, they're getting paid to sit there and watch for people speeding and watch for expired tags and illegal turns and things like that.
And people
lights being
the
out.
bird, right?
Isn't there like a Supreme Court ruling saying that flicking a cop off is protected free speech?
Well, gee, I wonder why they didn't charge me with that then. Of course, they don't. Like, that's the thing is, when they want you, they just make shit up. Okay, it's just a matter of they want you
it's
or
weird.
not.
It's like they don't need probable cause to pull you over, right? I mean, they don't have to go get a warrant to pull you over. They just pull you over.
I smelled marijuana. The dog triggered. Like my police senses, triggered and my training kicked in, and
my spidey
just
sense.
Intuitively knew there was heroin in the car.
Yeah, there's definitely a lower threshold for pulling a car over than there is for entering a home.
Yeah.
They don't need a search warrant or anything like that. And it's like, James says, I mean, they could just, if there's nothing wrong, they could just say, yeah, he crossed the center line, or I mean, technically, they could probably just break your taillight if it wasn't already broken and say he had a broken taillight. So they can come up with excuses much easier. But as far as searching a car, I don't know. I think they still need something, don't they?
I smelled weed.
Reasonable cause or something like that.
It depends on if your state
they have to go get a warrant, don't they?
Smell doctrines or whatever the fuck, because they have that shit in New Jersey where I'm at, and they're just like, They could be like, oh, it smells like weed in here, and then all of a sudden they supposedly have the legal authority to start searching your car without a warrant. I mean, I've called out to their faces before and just been like, no, it doesn't. You're a lying sack of shit. Like, I don't smoke weed in my car. I don't drive weed inside the cabin of my vehicle. So I know you're full of shit. Fuck off, dude. Like, no.
Wow.
And usually
that must be nice to have a car that doesn't smell like weed.
You have that video that went viral, right? Where you're arguing with the cops about, like, they wanted to search your friend's house or look for your buddy.
That was my house. This is when I was younger and shit. Like, it was my house, and my brother was like living there too, and he had a warrant out, and the Hunterdon County Sheriff's Investigative Unit and about 10 state troopers showed up, and mind you, this is all for a warrant for a VOP, like violation of probation, something stupid. And they show up that deep, and it's basically just them asking, like, my brother's there, and then they wanted my identification, and they want to go search the house, and it just back and forth, like, no, I'm not giving you identification, and no, I'm not letting you in my house. Fuck you. You don't got a warrant. I didn't commit a crime. I don't have to give you identification. Fuck off.
Yeah, and it's like, it really stumps them. I mean, it's a crazy video because they're like, they don't know how to handle him.
Well, they're so used to just being able to bully and intimidate anybody that when somebody actually holds their ground, it sometimes it shocks them, and I think they it challenges their like this whole like self-image they have of these superior beings.
Oh, dude, I talked circles around those fucking mental midgets because, like, I hate to even say it, but like the average cop has the IQ of a rattle, so it's kind of easy. It's kind of easy to stump them when you also like know the law for the most part, and you actually research it constantly because they don't fucking do that. So it's real easy.
I thought you had to provide identification, but I could be wrong.
No, you only have to provide identification if they have probable cause or reasonable suspicion that you committed a crime and they are ready to write a citation for you to appear in court for it. Because if they're
unless they just want to make some shit up. Like I had them demanding ID from me recently because of where I was parked. Okay. At I had a federal park ranger demand ID because I was parking where I'd actually been instructed to park by the park administration, right? But this guy still decided to get all tough guy and like threaten me and thought he was going to arrest me and kept reaching for his weapon and shit. Like
Jesus.
Yeah, like over where my truck and my camper were parked, like at a national.
They do that.
Recreation area.
When I was going back and forth with the cops in my front yard, the state trooper that was directly next to the guy from the Hunterdon County Sheriff's Investigative Unit that was fucking talking to me, he had his hand on his fucking handgun the entire time, and I'm like, bro, there's 12 of you. I'm like fucking 5'3" out here in a wife beater and sweatpants and no shoes. Like,
how insecure can they be?
Yeah. And I feel like that is what kind of made the video better because they couldn't believe that they were getting.
How do I find this video, dude?
They were getting out bullied by somebody who's literally half their size.
How do I find this video?
Just go to YouTube and type in "no warrant, no entry," and it should be one of the top ones. It's got like 1.4 million views, I think, at this point.
Oh, wow. Did you monetize that shit, dude?
Unfortunately, no, but from what I've heard, there's like no money in YouTube anymore, man.
Yeah.
That gravy train sailed. But
makes sense.
Yeah, dude, those fucking cops, they love using intimidation tactics for their fishing expeditions. That's their forte. And it really, really, really pisses them off when you don't let it intimidate you.
Right. But man, it's easy for them to intimidate people. I mean, when my heart races during these encounters, I'm like, it's freaking stressful as hell.
It does, yeah. But you know what was a tipping point for me is when I was I think I was 18 years old. I stayed home from work because I got really, really wasted and didn't want to fucking go to work the next morning. And I was home by myself, and all of a sudden I hear like somebody talking on a bullhorn. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I go out my back door, start lighting up a cigarette, and as I'm walking around my driveway, I see fucking 12 state troopers, all with fucking full tack gear, pointing fucking M4s, 12 gauges, and 9mm at me. I had no fucking idea why. They yelled my brother's name and they were like, freeze. And I'm like, what the fuck did this kid do? Like, apparently what happened is he posted something up that sounded suicidal, and one of his friends called the cops. And you guys know how well that fucking turns out and shit. Yeah. When cops go fucking see suicidal people. Well, they showed up task force style to my house, and my brother wasn't even home. I was the only one home. And they basically told me to put my hands on my head. And as soon as I did that, I thought I was going to die. Like, I got all these cops pointing. I've never had that many guns pointed at me in my life, ever. I don't wish it on anybody. But I had to put my hands on my head, walk backwards towards them. They cuffed me and put me in the back of the car and then tried to get me to sign a piece of paper allowing them to go in the house and confiscate all the firearms in my house. And I was just like, no, you're out of your mind. And they ended up doing it anyway. I was detained for probably close to an hour and a half. And then they finally let me go after fucking that. And they all took off. And I even found a fucking live 12 gauge round that on my street that they left when they were emptying out their fucking weapons to put them back in their cars and shit. I found one of their fucking slug rounds that they left on the street.
Jesus.
So that was a different incident.
Yeah, that was a completely different incident. Like almost, this is going back like fucking God, almost over 15 years ago, easily. And no, sorry, 10 years ago. But yeah, it's scary, man. And that was probably the one that made me almost not scared of them at all anymore, because it's like, well, what else can they do besides shoot me at this point? They pointed fucking 12 firearms at me at once and fucking like illegally detained me for an hour and a half while they took away fucking legally owned firearms that I had to fight 8 months to get back in court. Good stuff.
Jesus.
Oh.
All right, what's up next?
So,
yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Hey, James Babb. So you were saying Aria DeMezzo's sheriff campaign in New Hampshire is getting some national attention?
International. It's completely blown up as the story of this of a trans Satanist, anarchist, Republican candidate for sheriff in New Hampshire, just because media just loves that headline, right?
That's quite a word salad.
It's so awesome, right? That it's put her out there, and she's got a great message, so that gets them to notice. But she's no dummy, and she's got a message about this sheriff campaign, and basically she's pointing at how ridiculous the system is. Like, yeah, the system is so that put me here as your candidate, is a joke, and here's the proof. And also, if elected, she said, I'll police the police, not the people of the county, including stuff like but basically exercising the power as the highest ranking law enforcement officer in the county, right? Like saying like George Bush would be arrested for war crimes, or any of the others, like actually having fun with it and pointing out a lot of crazy shit with the attention. So kudos to Aria.
Yeah, like her car was attacked too, wasn't it?
Right. She has, I heard her say that there was a lot, it's almost all positive response. People just love it, come from all different directions, but there was vandalism on her car, and there was a GoFundMe going around that Ian Freeman had set up. So people can donate, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's already been covered, but I think it's a fun way. If you're going to run a campaign, make it fun, right? I don't think anybody thinks so. Now she's going up against an incumbent Democrat. I don't think anybody thinks that anyone but this incumbent's going to win, but she's gonna drag him through the dirt all the way. So
nice.
I think
that would be funny.
And Ian Freeman, what's going on with that guy? Because last I heard, all his computers were confiscated, and
that was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They took all his equipment. I think he got a lot of it back, but maybe not all of it. And there was nothing they could charge him. There was nothing. I don't know what I don't even know if he knows what they were looking for.
Probably pornography. I think was he making the child can consent kind of case? Is that what it was driven off of?
It might have been around that time when he was getting attention for that. So, but they did not find anything. So, or I'm sure they would have charged him.
I remember a lot of things happened around that time. That was around the time Chris Cantwell also started to come out as being far right. I remember he got kicked off the show. He like used the N-word or something like that, and eventually got kicked off the show and formed his own show. And there was a lot of drama going around that, or just, I don't know. I say drama like it's a bad thing. It was just interesting, all that stuff that was going on with those guys.
Intrigue,
yeah.
Intrigue.
Was it what was the name of the show? Was it Free State Radio or something like that?
Oh, well, there's Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what us libertarians listen to, Kyle. It's it's like our alternative to your Fox News or your MSNBC.
Yeah, what's that guy you listen to? Savage?
Yeah,
Adam
Michael Savage. Michael Savage, yeah. I just listen to him and then Adam and Dr. Drew show, because I grew up listening to Loveline, so I just always have an affinity for those guys.
Yeah. So next on the topic agenda for tonight, we've got Joe Biden, Desposito. So Joe Biden was at a he had a rally, right? And wasn't this a while ago, Jared?
No, it was like 2 days ago.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
It was 2 days ago, okay.
48 hours.
Yeah, he's
Well, it was like a Hispanic.
I just had it up.
Yeah, I just had it up too, and then I fucking.
He's
But it
speaking
was like a Hispanic
audience.
event, like a Hispanic campaign event
In
Yeah.
Florida.
in Florida.
Okay, so yeah, let's break it down for those that haven't seen it or know what you're talking about.
So, to like appeal to the people, he starts playing the song Desposito off of his phone. He just like holds his phone up to the microphone. and he's just like smiling the whole time. He's just so pleased with himself. Man. Yeah.
But you did say he was introduced by one of the artists on the song.
He was introduced by one of the guys in the band, so that makes it a little less cringe, but it was
He's
still
never
hilarious.
heard that song before in his entire life. Like, it was just so unorganic. And
Wait, are we supposed to believe that like he was able to like pull that up on Spotify or something all by himself, or
right? His
It wasn't
hands
just
were
queued up.
pre-set up to where he only had to push one fucking button like an hour ago.
I'm sure they just handed it to him, What? Just hold it.
Oh my
What?
Don't
How do
sniff
I
any
send
kids.
PDF?
And don't sniff any kids this time, Joe.
god.
He started sniffing the phone.
Please don't tell
Well,
anybody
yeah.
they're not their color if they don't vote for you. Don't do that.
You're not Mexican if you don't vote for me.
Oh my god. I
Hey,
love how
guys.
like a couple weeks ago he was like almost saying that like black people are like a monolith, but the Hispanic culture, that's so super diverse.
Yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dude,
And
And
it's
he's
saw
trying to
some-
win Florida, apparently.
Have you
Oh
guys
my-
seen these creepy YouTube ads? One's from Obama, and he's saying, "Don't let them take away your power. You gotta vote." Right? Have you heard that? It's,
No.
I mean, yeah. It's they brought out Obama for a YouTube commercial, and he's like, "Don't let them take away your power. Your power is your vote." Like, whoa, like.
How is
Yeah,
it?
they're
how is
getting
anybody
desperate, aren't they?
And
How
then
is
there's another
anybody-
one.
trying to
There's
take
another-
away your power to vote? I don't get it.
I don't know.
What are
I
they
mean,
talking?
I think he's just telling people to get off the couch and vote is the message. By implying that like
That's
somebody somebody's going to try to take this from you. You better keep, it's valuable.
Don't slip up.
Every time I hear them say you need to vote, I always think that it's implied that you need to vote Democrat. I very rarely ever think
It
it means
is.
vote Republican. It's usually like
Well, you
Black
never have-
Lives Matter activist or something, and they're like,
Well, because
"Make sure you get out
Republicans
there and-"
actually vote. Because yeah, I mean, you never hear Republicans like, "All right, get out and vote, guys."
They're already fucking.
They're already.
Everybody
It's all.
who I know.
Yeah,
that's
the boomers are all voting.
is
You know.
super
Right.
anti-Republican.
They're automatically voting, but that get out the vote campaign is just as serious for Republicans, but it takes place at the nursing homes and
Right. True.
right.
Yeah,
but I've seen
it's not just broadcast on MTV. It's
I've seen how they operate because
So,
like just
what it-
from
like
older libertarian stuff and watching the Republicans work the polls at the same time, and they have a whole list of
what do you
voters
think-
at every precinct that's supposed to show up, and they have a guy that'll drive around and pick them up and drag their ass over there. Like, oh, it's good to see you, Mrs. Jones, and she's like 105, and they just escort her right in there.
Remember,
They putting that
Republican
work in.
starts with an R.
Yeah. Did you see fucking what that Trump campaign ad that looked like a fucking intro to a new Purge movie?
Oh,
Oh my god, no! Dude, it's so funny, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. It literally looks like a fucking like a professionally done movie trailer for like the Purge 7 or whatever.
is it like just shots from like
2020.
BLM rallies or something?
Oh yeah, fucking all the Seattle and Portland riots, them destroying that fucking giant mall in Chicago, freaking
and what he's like, oh, this is what
Milwaukee burnt down, and then they have like
this is what Joe Biden's America looks like.
We
Yeah.
need to completely abolish the Minneapolis Police Department. And then it pans to Minneapolis, fucking like a whole block section burned to the ground.
Yeah, and then he says what? Oh, this is what Joe Biden's America looks like. Meanwhile, it's actually what Trump's America looks like. Because he's the fucking president.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
I don't understand that fucking tactic.
Yeah, that is a good point, but at the same token, it's like the president isn't responsible for what's going on in the individual states. That's why we have separation of power, and we want it that way. We don't.
Well,
want
yeah, I mean,
Trump.
I'm not saying
We don't
it's.
want Trump or any president responsible
No.
for Portland, Seattle.
Oh
fucking
yeah,
nothing.
I mean, I'm not saying like.
So,
Yeah, I'm saying
yeah,
if
this
you're gonna
is-
make a commercial like that and say like, here's what Biden's America looks like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, I mean, that's one thing about Biden.
No,
too,
I don't think it was more like Biden. This is what Biden's America is like. This is more along the lines of this is what Biden and Kamala Harris are encouraging people to do. Which
like
they're
I believe
Yeah,
I believe
that's
I
along
saw
the
a
tribal
Trump-
lines.
I believe I saw a Trump ad that he did about Biden where he was saying some bullshit like Biden wants to defund the police. When in actuality, Biden has said that he wants to give them more money.
Yeah.
wait,
Biden's
what?
made a whole career out of super funding the police.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Biden wants to
He
give them
was
more
the
money.
architect of civil asset forfeiture. Like, do people
Yeah.
forget this shit?
Oh
They
yeah.
don't give a fuck. Because
Yeah.
he's not Trump.
Right.
That's
And
all
Trump
they care
knows
about.
this, so he's going to appeal to his base and say, "Oh yeah, Biden just wants to
Yeah.
let criminals run free."
Well, I mean, weren't they like? Wasn't him and fucking Kamala? Weren't they involved in like donating towards like bailing some of these people out of jail that were getting rioting charges and shit? I don't remember where I heard that from. It's probably not real, but
It was fine. It was
You
Breitbart. You
guys
heard
hear
that?
anything about that?
It was OAN.
I didn't, but we've talked about how libertarians perceive Kamala to be like, a cop, and Joe Biden to be like a lock 'em up kind of guy, and then the right portrays them as lawlessness, as they're going to abolish the police and let these rioters run wild.
Which is
Well,
exactly what is going to motivate the Democratic base. So they all are playing along on this fake narrative. Right?
Exactly. You got it. You know what's up. They say
Hilarious.
one thing, but then do the other.
But both sides just eat that shit up. They just will just freaking love that, right? Because it feeds them. It feeds the right wingers. Like, oh my God, like I'm gonna blame all the looting and shit on her. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? But notice they don't even say it's because of her like police violence that she voted for. Like, what if you were a Republican and you said, you know what, that violence in the street is a result of police abuse that's gone unchecked, and the crime bill was a big part of that, and the war on drugs that Kamala Harris has presided over. Like, these people are responsible for the chaos in the streets. Like really
That would be
stick it
awesome.
to them.
Yeah, right.
But that's not the narrative. The narrative is, like we said, it's they're not tough enough on crime. They need to be tougher out there.
Yeah, that's the Republican narrative about them.
Right. Yeah. And then like the left narrative is the opposite, right?
Yeah, and the
But then there's like the liberal,
the libertarian.
well, there's leftists.
narrative.
Yeah, there's like leftists and libertarians that are actually, I guess, correct on this issue, where they see them as both like architects of, just architects of these like very harmful police
mandatory
policies.
minimums and asset forfeiture and things like that. Yeah.
But then you have like the centrist liberals that are just like, well, at least it's not Trump.
Well, meanwhile, the prison industrial complex just sits back and rakes in the dough, right? Like, however they play it out, like there's always going to be, everyone's demanding, gets there, nobody closes the prisons usually. So,
of course,
it's got to be hilarious. It's got to be hilarious for them to watch this fake narrative play out while they know that they win either way.
Well, yeah, because it's just like you got people going in and out of their system because they're getting arrested for being violent out on the streets doing their protests, and then they know that no matter who gets elected, the war on drugs stays the same. Fucking like and like the laws that you brought up, Kyle, they still stay the same. Fucking so the status quo stays the same.
Right? Who really thinks that anybody's going to defund the police in any significant way?
No, Biden needs police to fucking to enforce his mandatory face mask laws once he gets into office. He ain't defunding shit.
Hey, we had something went down in Pennsylvania where some kind of judge said that the governor's orders were unconstitutional.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that Kyle had to from a statist perspective, how does this stuff work? Like the governor's passed
Please
all these
translate,
edicts.
Kyle.
The governor passes all these edicts. The judge said unconstitutional. Now, but the governor says, but no, please keep enforcing this until I appeal. Okay. Is this order, has it ever been valid? Is it not valid anymore? Is it still valid? What's the deal?
Well, I would say, the governor is probably going to overrule the judge. It sounds like, unless it goes to a even higher court, a federal court, the Supreme Court,
right,
something
but currently,
like that.
right now, is it he hasn't appealed it yet, or maybe, I'm sure he will soon. But if assuming he hasn't yet, isn't it null and void?
Well, you got to look at who has the guns. That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, ultimately, the governor controls the police, and if they're going to enforce it, then you have to keep that in mind. That's probably going to be enforced.
Could this become like a showdown against branch versus branch? Like, that'd be so cool if we could get them fighting each other.
The ultimate showdown.
Yeah, right. They do it to us all the time.
And I think the executive branch wins that showdown because they ultimately have the guns, right?
No, they don't. No, judicial branch has all the sheriff's departments and the courthouses and shit. Like they got federal marshals. There's all kinds of people that can use
checks and balances, huh?
Yeah.
So
you could have I guess you could have a
like,
civil
hey,
war
governor,
between the
governor, did you hear what that judge said about you? Hey, hey, judge, did you hear what the governor said about your mama?
The founders envisioned a system where these different branches would check each other, but in practice, I think, as everybody here knows, they actually work in cahoots, right? It's usually
right?
Yeah.
Okay, almost
but
always.
This is 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you can't put nothing is out of the ordinary this year.
Like, and what if we could somehow like stoke that fire, like get them to like.
Yeah, but Bab, to be cynical, maybe this is more of this fake narrative shit where it's like, oh yeah, you have one Republican judge that says masks are bad, and then the governor comes back and says no, masks are good, and then it just kind of like sits in the court system for 6 months and everyone forgets about it, and then nothing happens, and everybody
I have a feeling
wins.
it's going to be business as usual for a while, and people are still going to. I think the governor is still telling people they have to obey. I mean, and the businesses will obey, right? Like,
yeah,
like the governor's the one telling them what to do, not the judge. So whatever the judge says in his courtroom, well, Like until some people like out here out here like want to make a stink about it, it's not going to change anything.
It's a good
We'll
point.
see. I don't know.
How long do you think they're going to keep these mask mandates up? When do you guys think that they're going to lift it?
Never, unless
I don't know. Probably a year. Probably
dude,
a year.
In Philly, I was at a restaurant. I swear to God, the waiters now have to wear double masks. They have to wear a mask and a face shield. And I said, "What's up?" I asked the waiter. It's like, "What's up with the double mask thing?" He goes, "Ask the mayor." Like, what? Like,
So this is the mayor's doing?
That's what according to the waiter, there's evidently there's a citywide mandate for double masks. Okay. So
double mask.
So they're going to have to outdo each other now. So somebody else can be like, no, we're doing triple masks and a hairnet and a
bodysuit.
And a butt plug. I mean,
can't let that COVID in your butt.
The Rona.
Right, Kyle?
You don't know how it spread.
Any porous area.
Did anybody see the Apple media event recently?
No.
They announced a new Apple Watch, and one of the features is automatic hand washing detection. And it's going to help you manage your hand washing to make sure you're washing enough times and for long enough. I swear to fucking God.
People need a watch for this shit? Like, are you kidding me?
I couldn't. Hands, I was like, oh my God. Like,
they're just throwing features at a wall to see what sticks, you know. I guess. I don't know.
I think this defines a culture and a period in time. Like, to me, like people with a freaking like $1,000 watch to help them like know when to wash their hands. You know? And it'll like maybe it'll be like it'll use sensors to like we can tell you've just taken a shit, you know, and then it'll give you this is how to correctly wipe your ass.
That's one step away from that South Park episode with the TSA in the bathrooms and shit. need to check your asshole.
Oh, there's a new South Park coming, isn't there? I heard there's a new South Park coming where it's going to be all about COVID and all that shit. That should be good.
Oh my God.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, like apparently it's a 1 hour COVID special.
Is that what it is?
God.
That's awesome.
How soon can we get that? When is that coming?
I think like September 30th, I believe I heard.
Damn, dude. Not soon enough.
I feel like Cartman waiting for the Nintendo
Might all be dead by
come
then.
out right now. Like, come on!
Yeah. Isn't that when he like freezes himself and then he goes too far in the future?
And he goes into the fucking river otters.
Yeah.
I will smash your skull like a clam on my tummy.
Damn, what a show, man.
So hey, Jared, seems like we're about out of time here, huh?
I think we are, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for coming on, guys. And also we have t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. If you type in the code PRL, you'll receive a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more and use the code PRL2, you'll receive a 20% discount. This podcast is brought to you in part by Conversations About Freedom podcast, hosted by Moral Bob. Until next time, live free
or die.